Hi everybody, this is Joshua Kirk back with you guys once again on YouTube. And now it's time for episode 55 of Album of the Day. And in which today's review is dedicated to one of my friends from the band Dr. Dog, Scott McMicken, who who writes and sings in Dr. Dog and plays guitar. This review is dedicated to him because I know he really likes this album that I'm going to review today. So Scott, if you're watching, this is for you. A little shout out to you. So today's band is a band from Chapel Hill, North Carolina that, have, that are a piano rock group. But what really sets them apart from other piano rock groups is that they play their instruments differently and have more kind of a punk rock sort of feel to their piano rock music as opposed to other piano rock bands out there. So they have kind of more punk rock background than a lot of other bands like that with piano, bass, and drums. So the band is called Ben Folds 5. They've been around since about 2000. They've been around since about 1994. And, they've been known to put out catchy tunes with some very humorous and maybe sometimes dark lyrics. So I'm here to review their first album called Ben Folds 5. So this is self-titled. And the reason there's that sticker over there is because I bought it at one of my favorite CD stores, Soundgarden, which is in... It has two locations, in Baltimore and Syracuse. I go to the one in Baltimore. But anyway, here's the cover here, which has a piano and obviously a photo of the three members, which are Ben Folds, Darren Jesse, and Robert Sledge. And here's the spine, the other spine, and the back. And sorry, it's a little bright there. But the songs on here are Jackson Canary, Philosophy, Julianne, Where Summer Be, Alice Childress, Underground, Sports and Wine, Uncle Walter, Best Imitation of Myself, Video, The Last Polka, and Boxing. And this was produced by Caleb Southern, who's been the producer of this album, along with Whatever and Ever Amen, and the unauthorized biography of Reinhold Messner. And this is released on a New York label called Caroline Records. Ben Folds sings lead and writes the songs, while the other two members, Robert and Darren, both sing harmonies. And of course they all play their instruments in a distinctive sound. And there's the CD itself, which has the band's distinctive little piano logo. And, it's, as you can see, the case isn't in the best condition. It, broke apart, because this is a used copy, but, oh well. But anyway, there's, an address for, Caroline Records, and then there's, some liner notes right there, and then there's a photo. There's Ben, standing on the piano, because he's been known to do that at the live shows. There's Robert Sledge right there, and there's Darren right there in the back. And then there's thank yous and additional liner notes for Boxing, that song. And then the Caroline Records thing, where did you buy this album? How did you hear about this band? Through radio or something? Because, the labels are always wondering. And then there's liner notes for what instruments the band plays. Ben Folds, piano, Robert Sledge, bass, and Darren Jesse, drums. And Darren Jesse currently contributes to artists, specifically Sharon Van Etten, which I haven't heard too many of her stuff. But I heard she's good, so I'm going to have to give her a try. So that's Ben Folds 5. So the first track on here is Jackson Canary. And right away you definitely do see how talented the band is with the way they play their instruments and how, like, clever their lyrics tend to be. Like, there's Ben Folds, you know, going nuts on the piano, and Robert Sledge's bass, which is just distorted as hell, and along with you know, along with the drums, which are like, you know, kind of like very like Darren's just, you know, a madman on the drums for sure. And yeah, like the lyrics are basically kind of about like, you know, going far away when nobody really knows about it, basically. So like, you know, you try to throw away, you know, life a little bit, you know, when you go far away, when nobody knows it. And then, of course, you got Ben Folds' distinctive voice, along with, you know, Darren and Robert doing, you know, a ton of, you know, harmonies that, you know, make it catchy. So there's some catchy little vocal hooks from them on here. And then there's Philosophy, which is a staple at their live shows. You know, I mean, both at Ben Folds 5 shows and at Ben Folds solo shows, since he isn't playing with Ben Folds 5 currently. You know, he's currently like working on music with an orchestra or something like that. But, you know, back then he was known for being the leader of Ben Folds 5, and he still is known for being that leader today. Although Ben Folds 5 aren't as popular now as they were then, especially with Whatever and Ever Amen. And, you know, Philosophy is, you know, one of my favorite Ben Folds 5 songs. Folds 5 songs. And, you know, it's definitely, like, you know, got some, you know, pretty clever lyrics to it, along with, for lyrics on it, along with kind of, you know, the signature, you know, playing style that, you know, the three members have with their instruments, as well as, you know, a catchy little vocal hook and an awesome little long jam at the end, too, with, you know, Ben Folds, you know, just nailing it on the piano, to the point where, you know, it kind of explodes at the end. And then there's a funny little thing at the end, a pretty lo-fi element in there, where at the end you hear, like, hand claps, and you hear, like, the members, like, doing crazy little, like, dialogue, and then followed by 1, 2, 3, 4 is the song Julianne, which is kind of a song about, like, how, you know, you feel like someone is your friend, but in reality you don't miss them. So it's kind of a song about, you know, the narrator obviously meets a girl who looks like Axl Rose, gets drunk, takes her home, and they sleep in her clothes, and obviously he talks on the phone all day to her because he has nothing to do. So it's like so it's a song about kind of, you have this experience where you realize that you thought they were your friends, but they're actually people that you don't miss because, you know, the experiences that you had with them weren't the best. Because, yeah, we're bored of, you know, and just, you know, sick of talking on the phone all day. Talking all day on the phone. And it has, like, and Darren's, like, doing this weird little, like, percussion sound on there that sounds like a bag, just, it sounds like someone, like, it sounds like someone, like, dragging, like a trash bag full of, like, soda cans around town. In fact, there is a line about carrying around a bag of trash, so it kind of makes sense. Darren's doing that weird little percussion sound that sounds like him carrying around a bag full of, like, soda pop cans or something like that. That's what the percussion on that song kind of sounds like. That's, like, non-drums. Then there's Where Summer Be, which is also another staple of the band, which is, you know, kind of, you know, about how there are those experiences where we just feel down and we're like, you know, we're like, where have you been, Summer? So that's kind of what where summer be means. It means like where summer been, um, summer been, and it has some little like hooks that like kind of sound reminiscent of maybe like the Beach Boys or something like that. Something like that, you know. It's just so it's just a great song. And then during the piano solo, you can hear like Ben like just kind of laughing a little bit in the background. That's kind of one thing I hear in there. Track number 5 is one of the more kind of low-key tracks, Alice Childress, which is kind of a song about how you're living in a seedy town and you wish your friends could live with you, but you just know they wouldn't dig it, but then it also has lyrics about it has some like advice, like it's talking to this girl, obviously saying, well, there's a lot of ugly things in the world, so if you just kind of let it go and maybe try and pretend that it isn't that way, well then you'll have a little more optimism and faith. So it's kind of melancholy, but at the same time kind of hopeful too, because some of the lyrics talk about how you can just let go, as if the world doesn't have a lot of ugly things to it. And then at the end of the song, there's like this weird little like sample of an accordion. Like there's this accordion sample which kind of sounds like maybe a demo version of the next song on the album, Underground, which that's an interesting track because it has all 3 members of the band singing lead. Like in the beginning of the song, you hear Darren singing about not feeling cool in school, and then you have Robert singing about like still wondering who to be, and then Ben's voice comes in, so like there's like a trade-off lead vocal thing going on there, and it opens kind of jazzy and almost spacey because of the use of an electric piano in the beginning, but then of course after that it kind of turns into a more typical sort of piano pop rock song. Like a typical Ben Folds 5 track, because they're playing piano pop rock, but with their own little twist. And it's kind of this song with a pretty dark lyrical subject, but it's like just a happy song melodically. Like it's a song you just want to sing along and dance to. So like it's kind of a song where the lyrics are like not so positive, but like the melody gives you this real feeling of happiness. But it's kind of a song about like kind of how pretentious the underground kids tend to be, which kind of makes sense because like there were a ton of rock clubs in the 90s that didn't want the band there because the underground kids wouldn't like them because they didn't sound hip enough for them. So it's kind of a song about how you don't feel cool when you're surrounded by the underground kids. Pretty much. So it's kind of a song how you're almost afraid to kind of express yourself because all the underground kids want is, just loud, angry rock, pretty much. And then there's Sports and Wine, which is kind of a song about how people just kind of start like talking about somebody because of their interests, pretty much. And in this case, it's about someone who obviously thinks of wine and sports as like art to this person. Like everybody starts talking about this person because of the interests that obviously this girl that Ben's talking about in the song has, pretty much. And like towards the middle of it, there's like Darren doing these weird little like football inspired shouts like in the middle of this song, and then he does like a drum solo, and like he's like screaming, like showing how Darren just kind of, he's like just a madman on the drums, because like he's doing these crazy solos and having sort of a naughty rhythm section, along with him just, doing these little shouts like, ah! like at the end of the song, and also at the end of One Angry Dwarf and 200 Solemn Faces off of Whatever and Ever Amen. And then there's the particularly funny track, Uncle Walter, which, has a video for it that's kind of got imagery kind of inspired right by the lyrics, which is kind of about an old man who obviously, wants to be president and, like, has gone on, like, this trip and done a bunch of crazy things. And then another thing that's particularly funny about this track is that it has, Ben Folds tends to write lyrics that sometimes are, like, not quite realistic, but, like, are funny at the same time. Like, the song has, like, a lyric, there's, like, a lyric in the song that talks about, like, kids smoking pot. So there's, like, there's, like, a line about, like, children smoking pot in there. That's, like, pretty funny in there. And then, there's Best Imitation of Myself, which, is, kind of a song about, like, sometimes, you're just trying to imitate yourself and try to make it sound like you, pretty much. So it's kind of, a funny song, too, because, like, imitating yourself isn't such a good thing to do, but it's a pretty funny song, because it talks about how much we all feel tempted to imitate ourselves to the point where we try to. Like, Ben Folds is talking about how, kind of the narrator's talking about imitating himself kind of as a singer and a pianist a little bit on there. And then there's kind of the Irish influence track, Video. Like, there's no, like, Irish instruments on Video, but it has kind of, but just the rhythm, like, the tempo kind of has the same feel like an Irish Celtic song would have on there. And, like, the song Video kind of talks about, just wanting to be in a video with someone, kind of laying around all day and, experiencing life kind of, the mundane way, pretty much. So it's kind of ironic, because, like, no one can really look forward to something like that. So Ben Folds really does show a little bit of humor in terms of, like, sarcasm and, like not really random things, but rather he has a lot of sarcasm and irony in his tracks that show how clever of a lyricist he is. And then there's the last polka, which has kind of a Latin feel to it, and it has some of the darker lyrics on the album. That song, has this, cool little, drum groove from Darren. The song, has a cool, that song has a cool little drum groove from Darren on it. And then there's the closing track on there, Boxing, which, is a beautiful little ballad, sort of talking about, it's kind of a song that kind of describes boxing in, kind of a sarcastic way, and using the term boxing as, slight figure of speech, not, literal boxing, but, rather just kind of mental kind of illness. So it's kind of a song that's also, very ironic and clever lyrically. And, just that song is just, so beautiful. The piano on there is really nice. And then it has a really nice string arrangement on it, too, which doesn't overpower the song. It feels right with kind of the ballad-type structure of the track. As opposed to all these other people that kind of just add string sections for the sake of it, no matter how overpowering it is. I like artists that just use it for beauty and for art, rather than just using it because everyone else they're not just using it because every waking artist these days is using it. So it's a really nice string arrangement on that song. That's beautiful. And so it like starts out just Ben Folds, but then the string section comes in adding some beauty, and then there's Robert and Darren coming in by the end. So it's kind of a build-up track. And then it goes back into the nice little piano on there. So it's like, you know, so it's like not very much like weirdish instruments going on here. You know, but you know, the string section really does add some, like, just some beauty to the song Boxing. So like this album is just, it's a very likable album to listen to. It puts you in a good mood. Like, musically it puts you in a good mood, and plus the lyrics on it are really clever and, you know, funny, and just, you know, and very original. So, and this band totally has kind of an uncanny ability to play their instruments in a unique way, which sort of sets them apart from other rock bands, especially other rock bands that were playing in the 90s. Like, grunge was like the big thing going on. But, you know, these guys were pretty much unique. So I'm going to give this album a 9 out of 10. It's like just a really enjoyable album. Like, you know, I definitely highly, like, if you're on the lookout for a band that, you know, can show humor and catchy melodies through music, this is your record. So that's my review of Ben Folds 5. I'll see you in episode 56.